Hey everybody, it's Gypsy and welcome to On the Edge of Appalachia. Today is Sunday, February 9th. And as you can see, I am not at the flea market. I overslept this morning and I was debating on whether I should rush and get ready and just go. But it's Sunday. Sundays are nowhere near as busy as Saturdays. Our busy time is what we call the church rush, and that's maybe 45 minutes to an hour. So I would miss some of it, and then Sunday afternoons, it's usually very quiet at this time of year, especially if there's like a big game on TV or something, and today's the Super Bowl. Now, here on the eastern side of the country, it doesn't start till 6:30, but it still seems to affect business. I think people are preparing for the Super Bowl parties and stuff like that. So anyways, I decided to stay home. I need to catch up on my errands anyways. With all the ice we had last week, and it's still there, but we did have snow, so that covered it and gave us traction. I didn't go out and do any errands. There's nothing in the house. I'm like, there's things I need. So I'm gonna catch up on my errands today. Start at least. So what I'm doing today, it's still like my flea market drive time discussion, but it's at home. And I wasn't going to do one except yesterday's video when I was driving into the flea market. One of my favorite viewers, and she always does have really good comments, but I wanted to address these. She had a couple that I wanted to address. Thank you, Nancy. She's always great for conversation. I sometimes when Nancy comments and I want to respond, I always kind of wish that we were in the same place having a cup of tea over and having this discussion, over a nice cup of tea. But, it's not possible. But I do want to thank you for all your great comments. I love a good discussion, a good deep discussion. I don't like shallowness. Nancy does not offer shallowness. It's always really good thoughts. Not that I always agree with them. It doesn't matter. She has good points, and I learn a lot from that. I think we need to be more open to hearing what someone with an opposing view has to say, because we can learn a lot from that. Doesn't mean you have to end up agreeing with them or anything. It's always food for thought, and you can learn from that. So anyways, I wanted to address what Nancy said. I'm not going to go over everything I talked about in that video. So if you want to know, be up to date, go back to yesterday's video. I will try to remember to link it on here somewhere, in the description. So you can go back, watch that first if you would like. So I mentioned that I've always been very much into freedom. I believe in small government, being self-sufficient, etc. Speaking of tea, I love tea. In my opinion, the bigger the government and the more we rely on them, the less freedom we have. So it is something that has always bothered me. And I would like to see the government get back to what it was meant to be, what our founding fathers meant for it to be. They left us a lot of warnings we did not heed. And I think now, this first point that my viewer has is one I have thought about for years, okay? And what she said was, the founding fathers never imagined the country getting this large. I believe that's true. I have thought about this for years and years, and it does pose a problem. When you have a country this large, maybe you need a government this large. On the other hand, we have states. And the state government, unless it's a matter of national safety, the state government laws are first, okay? So since we have states, I think we can have a smaller government, like our founding fathers said. Maybe that's why they set it up with states. That one I'm not sure about. But that's a very good point, because when you have a country this large with so many people, I kind of feel like democracy doesn't work. Now, the main important purpose of the federal government is to protect the country. Other than that, they were supposed to stay out of our lives. That has not happened. And I'm totally against that. I don't like a big government, but what do you do about it? This is where I've been thinking a lot. Nancy has a very good point here. It's like, wow. Now, one of the things the founding fathers advised, I think maybe it was George Washington who said this, excuse me, stay out of foreign affairs. I am so behind that. I mean, I cannot figure out why we get involved in everybody else's business. Why are we taking care of everybody else before we take care of our people? I mean, I lived on the road for 4 years. I traveled the country with my truck and travel trailer, coast to coast. And I saw a lot of stuff, and it changed my perspective, my opinions. And yet, these are my opinions, okay? Right or wrong, you know? And what I saw was our people aren't being taken care of, yet we're worried about everybody else. Why? Charity starts at home. I'm a big believer in you take care of yourself first, because if you don't, you can't take care of others. Well, that goes for the country too. You take care of yourself first, your family, and then you can branch out. But I always felt that, all right, when the country gets this big, does democracy even work? Because it is always the majority who's going to win the vote, which means you're going to have some people who aren't satisfied. The bigger the country is, the bigger the population, the bigger the minority is, the bigger the population of people who are not satisfied. So it ends up being like bully on a playground kind of thing, in my opinion. So I always wonder, does democracy really work in a country this large? You know, I sometimes wonder, do we have to find a way to make it work? Or do we have to split the country up? But then again, they're states. So I think one of our problems might be that we forgot we have states who override the federal government. The federal government has way too much control of things they shouldn't have control of. That should be the state's business. They are power hungry, and that's not good. That's not healthy for a country. Now, another thing Nancy said, and if I'm taking her the right way, it's the opposite of opinion. I could be wrong on what she meant by this, of what I feel. The founding fathers never expected, well, first of all, it's technology and stuff. I never did. I mean, most of my life was without it, and then when it came along, I was like, whoa. But she also said they never expected a Trump or an Elon Musk. I think that could very well be true. But then again, the founding fathers had to be radicals themselves. to come up with a country that's run in this manner. First of all, break away from England, Revolutionary War, and then design a country that is a republic. They did things that were very radical. And there was a lot of drama about it. So I'm going to say, yeah, maybe they didn't foresee an Elon Musk or a Donald Trump. But maybe they did because they had them, and they left us all these warnings in the hope that we would not come to this where we say we're a republic or a democracy, but are we really, kind of thing. I don't know if I want to say democracy. Leave democracy out of that sentence. I believe we do for the most part, but those who lose the vote, their population has gotten so big that I always feel sorry for the losing side because they're not getting the life they want, if that makes sense, whether I agree with that life or not. Now, what I'm about to say, a lot of you aren't going to like. I feel, I'm a libertarian, and I feel strongly about a small government. And I'm not saying I agree with everything. I don't. There are a couple things I am concerned about. However, I feel to get this country back on track because I am telling you, for years and years, I have been shocked by what has been going on in this country. Things as a young adult I never would have imagined happening have been happening. It's just weird. I think, and this is my opinion, I think maybe we do need radicals like President Trump and Elon Musk to get everything cleaned up and back in order. The president, he is a very shocking character. He says things that will shock you. In fact, I never used to like him. And when he won the 2016 election, I was shocked. And there were a few issues I was worried about. The main one, which was same-sex marriage rights, I was worried he was going to take those away. And I thought, okay, he won. There's nothing I could do about it except observe, and that's what I did. I watched what he did. And one day, I was starting to like him more and more. One day he said something that got, my virtual head just spun towards him. And he had my attention from that day on. He talked about draining the swamp, which is something, we have too much corruption in our government. It needs to go. And maybe a lot of you guys think he's corrupt. You're entitled to your opinion. And it's okay. Maybe I understand why. I don't feel that way, though. I wanted the corruption gone. Now, I am not talking about the rights that certain groups have won. Okay? Not at all. I'm fine with it as long as you are not forcing it on someone else. Okay? I just want everybody to live their life, be themselves, be true to themselves, and be happy. When I say corruption, it's not that. I heard my dad say money laundering. My dad and I used to talk before he died when I was young. Even though my dad was a Democrat, I think he's the one who kind of steered me more towards a libertarianism, if that makes sense. Just by discussions we had. Yeah, it's like money laundering. I don't think you should ever become rich. Like a millionaire being a public servant. You should be doing it for love of country. That does not happen. It doesn't. They go in there for the money, and they will get it any way they can. And that means hurting the American people. That makes me angry. So when he said that, he had my attention. That's what I'm for. But yeah, our country's gotten too big, you know. So what do you do? Okay. How can everybody be free and live their lives? Everybody has a right to that, in my opinion. And I don't have the right to judge someone else's life. I mean, I might have an opinion about it, but am I judging? And if I'm thinking negatively about a lifestyle where this person's not hurting anybody else, that shows me I am ignorant on that topic. Okay? And I don't have enough information. But I don't believe I have the right to control anybody else or really judge them. Okay? So I wish there was a way we could all have our lives, and I think the more laws and regulations we have, the more likely there are going to be groups that are really not free to live their lives freely. And that's wrong. The only ones who should not have that right are true criminals, like rapists, murderers, people who steal, you know, along those lines. We're too overregulated that how the hell can you be free? It's really sad. But this is the way I view this, and it's like, yeah, I agree with what she's saying. The country's gotten too big. So how do you know, I want to live in a country with, you know, I want small government, freedom. I've always been like a private person. I used to be very shy and quiet. I don't want people in my business. You know, everybody, you know, mind your own biscuits and life will be gravy. So that's how I feel about that. So what else did she say? Well, I've got my tea, Nancy, so I hope you have a cup. Anyways, so what else? Oh, I just did that one. Oh, and here's something she said I very strongly agree with. Maybe not for the same reasons, I'm not sure, because she didn't go into detail, which is common. People can help. There are people who can help, but they don't. It's true. I think there could be a couple reasons for that. And again, these are just my opinions, and I could be wrong. Greedy people. They're taking, and they don't want to help others. They're greedy, okay? That's the most obvious one. I think another one is, wow, I just lost my thought. You know, my hair's going gray, but maybe I should just go, you know, dye it blonde. Sorry, blondes, I'm just joking. That was a joke when I was young. I probably shouldn't have said that. My daughter-in-law is highly intelligent, is a natural blonde, gorgeous. She's a beautiful, beautiful woman. I think, yes, there are people who are afraid to help. Because there are, I mean, who was that guy? I can't remember his name. He's a veteran. And he helped all those people on the subway. And he ended up getting in trouble for it. I mean, in the end, it worked out. But I think because of that, a lot of people are afraid to reach out and help. So that's another reason. And I think that helping is not always does not always have to be on a large scale. You know, like where you're helping a huge amount of people. And you guys know I'm very much into community, like a small community, your own like area where you live. Helping out that way is a huge thing, even though, it's not like a large group of people. I very much believe in like the butterfly or ripple effect, as they call it, where what you do does, expand out. So I'm going to use some friends of mine as an example. I have a friend, when I say friend, her and her husband, I'm thinking of, they have money. You wouldn't really know it. They're not pretentious at all, very down to earth. But here's the thing. Like, they did help me out a lot for a long while. They help others out. They're very giving and loving people. And my friend once told me, we have been blessed with this wealth. And when you're blessed with something, you should be sharing it, helping others. I believe very strongly there are other people like my friends. Now, they did this on a smaller scale within our community. Helped a lot of people. So that's a way of helping, and it's not huge. But so I believe there are people out there who can help and do. And I believe if we make it a habit, it'll stretch. I also think it does not necessarily have to be monetarily. You can help another. Just saying hello to a perfect stranger. I'm into, like, I'll be out in public shopping, whatever. Oh, I love your blouse. I love your shoes. Great hat, whatever. Love your hair. I just do that. I just feel, I can't, I don't have a lot, but I feel like when I do that, I'm making somebody's day a little better. Okay, now I know that's not really what my viewer was saying, but it does help raise the vibration of the planet. I'm a big believer in energy. And, like gasoline or electricity, I'm talking about our own personal energy and the energy of everything. It does raise the other person's vibration, and this is catchy. Okay, it is. It's contagious. So I think that helps. But knowledge, you guys have heard me say that I believe everybody on this planet has something to offer. I don't care how disabled you are still offering something, whether you know it or not. People come in with their own talents and abilities. They're all unique. We're all unique. And we have to start focusing in on that. So, when I was growing up, things were starting to turn less from jobs that were, I want to say, service oriented. People like, that's not the right word, service. I can't think of what the word I want, but like carpenters, plumbers, mechanics. In my day, they were starting, oh, no, don't do that. You're not going to make enough money. Pfft. What a lie that was. They were trying to talk everybody, it wasn't really forced on it was my kids' generation. They started forcing college. Not forcing, but very strongly coercing, I want to say. But they were starting to change where, those jobs, you want something, you want to be a doctor, a lawyer. Technology was coming in, so they were steering everybody towards that. But you shouldn't do that. Everybody has their own natural ability. You have to let that young person look within and discover it and work with that. And I know some of you are going to say, but you're talking, might not make a lot of money with your ability. That's how we got to change it. Okay, you're talking to an artist, believe me. I know there are talents like mine where you don't make a lot of money. You get a lot of oohs, and I can't believe you could do that, but you don't make money. But I believe when we start focusing on talents, then that will increase. It's the energy exchange. So, where I was going with that before I got off course was sharing your knowledge, okay? You guys know I love to garden. And I am trying to not just increase my garden, but also turn my plant growing into a business. So, like I said, we have a new neighbor a couple doors down. He's a young father. And he just moved in last spring. And he would come over while I was out in the garden and ask me questions and stuff. And he said, I'd love to garden, but since I just moved in here and I have a lot of cleanup to do, I cannot do it this year, so I want to do it next year. And I told him, I said, because he did plant a few tomato plants he had problems with, and he called me over and, to ask me what was the problem. But when he said he wanted to start a garden this coming season, I told him, I said, you have any questions? You need any help with anything? I'm here. I will share what I know. That's a way of helping. Because this personal knowledge we have, gardening to me is a basic life survival skill. Not that everybody has to do it, but it's a helpful skill for life. Also, I like to cook and bake a lot. I share that a lot, especially with my daughter-in-law. She's from Finland. I'm of a different background, so I make different foods. And she'll ask me questions, how to do it. She wants to learn how to cook some of the things I do. That is sharing knowledge. These are important things. Because, all right, say you have a grandchild who's interested in cooking and you love to cook. You teach this grandchild, they could grow up to be a good chef, maybe even a famous chef and rich. Or it could be as simple as, they're self-sufficient and can feed themselves and their family. Okay? So it does not necessarily have to be that. I guess I'm saying, like all the poor people in the world and starvation and stuff. I think if we teach people skills, not just give them stuff, which is helpful, it is. I'm not saying do away with that, but while you're giving, also give them knowledge on how to be self-sufficient. So I feel like I've gotten really off course of Nancy's comment. So I do believe there are people out there who can help and want to. We have been kind of brainwashed into fear. And so people are holding back. Although I don't believe everybody really is, or some that are. So I think that's kind of addresses that. We have to get to the point where we're not afraid anymore. The fear, honestly, I feel like it's false. My cat Draco is out in the yard in the snow. I just watched him walk by. He's like, what's the matter with you? Cats are supposed to like warm weather. Anyways. I think we can solve this. We do got to think outside of the box. But like I said yesterday, we have to stop forcing our beliefs and lifestyles on other people. Okay? I respect anybody who is living their life, being true to themselves. But I will stop if they start forcing on me, like you have the fanatics in religion who will try that. I lose respect for that person. And I'm not talking just religion. There are other areas. We don't need to get to all of them. So yeah, I believe that this can be solved in that area of people helping. We got to just, all right, you know what? They're throwing all this stuff at us to keep us afraid. Okay? I don't think we really have to be that afraid. We all have common sense. Now, I'm one of those people, I have a lot of confidence in humanity, maybe more than most. And I feel like we're going to get through this, and we're all going to spiritually grow, and we'll get to that point. Now, my cat wants to come in while I'm in the middle of a video. We'll get to the point. I believe someday, and it might not be in our lifetimes, but we're getting there. I see improvements. We got to get the evil one. To me, this is a spiritual battle. We need to get rid of the evil ones because we have it in us. Stop listening to them. If you see someone in need, whether you agree with their lifestyle or not, reach out to them and help them. Okay? Whatever you have to offer, it doesn't have to be money. We have more to offer than any of us can imagine. We don't use all of our power and abilities. We only use that much. Well, if we get the evil ones out of the way, we just start looking within and discovering who we are. Our self-confidence is going to raise. Oh, we're not evil. And since I have confidence in myself now, I feel comfortable sharing what I have to offer with others and helping them. Now, yes, this is a long process, but we have been in this process for a very long time already. I don't think we realized it before. So anyways, this is my perspective of my viewers' comments. So I guess there you have it. So I have some peat pods soaking over here because I'm going to plant the first of my tomato seeds today, and I'm so excited. And that's another thing. Like, I share my gardening and stuff and my art on YouTube. When you share your what you do and your knowledge and all, even if it seems trivial to you, it's not. You are helping someone else you don't even know who's watching your video. So I'm not really into teaching it, but I'm showing what I'm doing. Maybe it'll help someone else. So see, we're doing it anyways. We're helping each other. We do have to step up our game for the bigger stuff, but the more we do this stuff. So social media, pros and cons. There's a lot of stuff I don't like about it, but I have learned so much from watching others' videos. That's a wonderful thing about it. So we're helping each other that way. Maybe somebody who is down and out will pick up a new skill, and it'll flourish, and it'll go from there, and they end up, getting back on their feet. Those things happen. Government-wise, unfortunately, I feel it needs to be harsh. And it is scary. It is. I feel it needs to be harsh. There's one or two things that's happening that scares me, that I question. But for the most part, I'm going to talk spiritually here for you that might understand. I am spiritually I kind of want to say a teacher and an observer. I'm one of those people, okay, Scorpio all over the chart. You better believe I might not be saying much in a group or wherever, but I'm watching. I've always done that. Watch. I love the people watch. I've also been doing that with current events. I do that. And I have a lot of thoughts and opinions about it. I don't usually share it, especially within my family, because they don't really hear what I'm saying, and then they get pissed off at me. So I don't say much. I have found my two closest friends, their viewpoints are most often opposite of mine. I'm not saying everything, but we never argue about it. We don't care that we don't agree. My two friends are more accepting of me than my family sometimes. Um, you know, it's strange, but it does happen. I think it's common. I don't know why. I forgot why I was going in that direction, but that is what I do. I watch, and I love to share the knowledge I have. I'm not saying I'm an expert. I'm not a professional. I don't know everything. If I thought I knew everything, I shouldn't be doing videos. I shouldn't be talking to people, okay? Because that means I know nothing. If you think you know everything, if you're a know-it-all, guess what, honey? You know nothing. Nothing. Anyways, so this is gonna sound odd. I am not talking about like the deaths and stuff like that, but I'm finding it very fascinating watching what is going on here. I don't know how to explain it, my spiritual beliefs, because what I have experienced spiritually throughout my life gives me a different perspective than other people, because of my view of eternity and us being eternal beings. I hate the suffering that goes on here. I've had so much heartache in my life. This has not been an easy life. So I am not saying I'm disregarding the suffering. I guess, like I like to say, the evil ones, watching them, I'm going, and they're becoming more and more obvious. Throughout my life, they become more and more obvious. I'd say in February of 2020, I was like, wow, they're not even trying to hide what they're doing anymore. That's my perspective, and it is based on my experiences. So, a teacher and an observer. I'm not a huge teacher. I don't need to be. I've never wanted to be a bigwig. Never. I don't like the attention. An observer doesn't sound like anything, sounds like nothing, very passive. That may or may not be true. But another spiritual person told me people who are like I am, are kind of like ushering in this new paradigm, if you want to call it that. So what I'm saying, it doesn't matter if you think what you say and do and your purpose here, your being here is nothing. You're wrong. Your mere presence on this planet changes everything. It's your energy, your vibration. You may think you're doing nothing in the physical realm, but you're not doing nothing. Sorry, everyone. There got to be too much spiritual. This happens to me all the time. Too many spirits around, disembodied spirits. It messes with my technology and everything just froze on my phone. Anyways, don't ever, ever demean yourself. Think you're not participating. Think you're not, me, being an observer, sitting there watching, it does have an effect, okay? Your attitude, your energy, everything changes. Everything. You could be sitting next to somebody who has a very low vibration, and you may feel it, but your energy, like your vibration, could very possibly, and I believe it is, even though you might not notice it, is raising that person's vibration. You might bring a little joy into someone else's life by just sitting there, and that does make differences. This whole thing is a spiritual war. Don't ever think you're not participating. Don't ever think you have no value in any of this, or you do. You do. Just your mere presence on this planet is a blessing. It is. So my point is, all this hardship we're going through and, you know, the comments I just discussed here, maybe I'm having a Pollyanna attitude. And we have done this a few times on this planet, and there have been times things have gone wrong, but not this time. So I have to interject this here because it goes along with, it's an example of what I was talking about, how you affect others' energy and stuff. So I just got back from doing errands. And on the way to the store, I stopped at the gas station. And because I was using cash, I had to go in. So I walk in the door, and the man behind the register gives me this beautiful smile, this huge grin. He seemed like he was genuinely happy, and it was the most beautiful smile I had ever seen. And he asked how I was. I said, well, you just lifted my spirits with that smile of yours. I said, that's a beautiful smile. So it was like the energy he was putting out. I mean, not that I was in a bad mood or anything, maybe just a little tired, but I mean, he just, it you know, lifted my spirits, raised my vibrational frequency. So everybody does make a difference. Energy. So I'm going to leave you with that. Blessed be, and make it a joyful one.